And this is a special, very special next guest because we have some announcements to be made here as we bring on our next guest. We have Cooper and Julie, so I'm going to pop them on the screen. Cooper and Julie, how are you both doing?
Hey, Nick, doing well. Excited to be here.
Oh, yeah, so am I. I'm going to pop that off. It is a pleasure to have both of you here from RyeStrategy, and you have released this year a carbon neutrality pledge that we're going to talk about. But both of you, I just want to welcome you both. It's been a pleasure to, really partner together. And so let's go with Julie first. Introduce yourself, and then we'll have Cooper introduce yourself, and we'll talk about RyeStrategy and then also the carbon neutrality pledge. Julie, welcome.
Sweet. Yeah, thanks. Hi guys, my name is Julie. I'm actually currently a student right now. I'm in my final year at the University of Washington. I've been with RyeStrategy for about a year and a half now. Cooper was a friend of mine before he started this business, so it's been super fun to work with him for the past year and a half, and I'm excited to be here.
Oh, awesome. Welcome, and it's just great to have you here, Julie. And then Cooper, what's going on?
Yeah, so my name's Cooper, and I'm the founder and CEO of RyeStrategy. I founded it also while I was at the University of Washington almost 2 years ago now. And I don't want to jump the gun on this, but just to give a little bit of background on what we do, we're essentially an environmental consultancy working to help small and medium-sized businesses, particularly on the small side, figure out what their carbon footprints are and to help them go carbon neutral. And so it's something we've been up to for the past couple of years. Really loved it, and actually been going through the process with Founders Live, which has been awesome so far.
Yeah. No, it's been such a great process here. And what I wanted to do is bring you both on and really talk about this carbon neutrality pledge. And then I'll share a bit of the experience that myself and Founders Live has had as we've gone through this. But what would you, if you're gonna, Cooper, take a little opportunity here to talk about what this pledge is, what it means to step in and sign it, and what we would, we're sharing this with the group. So definitely I'm going to pop in the comments, the link if they want to take a look and take that pledge as well. So feel free to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the first thing I can probably do for everyone here is just define even what carbon neutrality is a little bit better. And then Julie, if you wanted to go into the details of the pledge itself, I know we've been working on that a bunch lately and just trying to fit everything as best we can to help as many companies as possible. So starting at a high level, essentially what carbon neutrality is every single business, small and large, has some level of carbon emissions that they emit through their activities, whether that's from working from home. In the case of Founders Live, we're actually investigating the emissions that come from events such as these. And it all boils back down to CO2 that's emitted that contributes to global warming. And so what we want to do is help all companies to really calculate what is that number per year and then lower it through different strategies that can actually reduce the emissions. So whether that's using cleaner energy or actually through offsetting, which is investing in projects that directly reduce the carbon that's emitted each year. And so, Julie, I'll hand it over to you if you want to give a few more details on the pledge itself. But really what we're hoping to provide is an opportunity for all businesses to commit to this process, get free resources, and really at the end of the day, make an impact for a greener tomorrow.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Cooper. So we know that carbon neutrality can be kind of a daunting word. And so we actually introduced this past year a carbon neutrality pledge to help it make an easier transition for organizations just like yours. And so by signing this pledge that we offer for free on our website, you will be essentially committing your organization to being carbon neutral by December 31st of 2022. And so that requires you reporting a carbon neutrality achievement being sent to us for our public records by that deadline there as well. But we want to make it easy for you, and we want to make this, again, less of a daunting task as it seems. And so upon signing, we actually send all of our signatories a free primer. So this is a pretty extensive package that explains the in-depth process and provides you with some initial resources to learn about carbon neutrality and kind of get your foot in the door. We also do offer a full service offering. So if you really want some help and want us to work through the entire process with you, we have that option as well. But I think even just signing our pledge is a great opportunity to signal to your peers and to your stakeholders that this is something that you care about, and then you can actually start some of that work that will kind of give you the baton to start working towards carbon neutrality with. We really want to emphasize that taking ownership of your impact, of your organization's impact early on, is really important, and it's going to help with maintaining sustainability as you scale. Through our neutrality pledge, we want to make sure that this process is affordable, straightforward, and highly beneficial for your company. And so I think we'll drop the pledge link in the chat, and I highly encourage you all to look at it for your organization. I think it's a really great start to taking on something as big as sustainability for your business.
Thank you. Awesome. And we do have that pledge. It's right there. Getting up there a little bit so I can point to it. We have that link there. And look, I can tell you this, that, just a little background, everyone. And, we were able to get connected earlier this year. Kind of trying to remember exactly how that all happened. But, when we connected, we had an initial conversation, and I just remember I just remember saying, you know what? If anything is going to improve in this entire world, it takes all of us to make better decisions, personally as well as organizationally. And so when you came together with this carbon neutrality pledge and basically putting it out there saying, hey, if we all start, and my thought was, hey, if we start as early as possible, early stage startups get with the mentality of being conscious about their climate impact just from the start. Just be conscious about it as you grow your company. We can start making impact. And man, if you think about that goes around the world, that's where I see things changing. So that's why we signed the pledge. And, Founders Live, we internally, not only did we sign the pledge, and Cooper, this is what for you, we not only signed the pledge, but then we went through a process of really essentially getting the accounting of what our impact is. Obviously not 100% accurate. It's kind of hard to be 100% accurate, but we got a view of what our organization is around the world, really our footprint. So now we have accounting that we can improve year to year to year, and especially as we grow. We're proud of that. It was not necessarily the easiest thing. I mean, it's kind of like you got to go through this stuff. But, Cooper, could you tell us a little bit about, just maybe a quick, what are the 5 steps that on high level that is in process when a company will go through and they commit to it, but now it's really about the accounting of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, looking at those steps, what it really boils down to, and I'll kind of put it into the framework of our process that we go through, just since that's, of course, what we're the most familiar with. I'd say there's 4 key stages. Before those 4, you have actually committing to the process, saying that this is something you're ready as an organization to go through with. You're ready to do it. You figured out how you're going to do it. The next step is to actually do the footprinting. And I think, Nick, as you know, this is probably the most complicated part. And this is where we're going back and forth together to really figure out what are your emissions. And there are a number of categories to look at for that. Like I mentioned earlier, there are emissions even coming from this event right now that next year we'll probably be calculating out, right? And so there's a lot of back and forth there, looking at travel, looking at offices if they have them, looking at working from home. There's so much that goes into that. And like you said, it's not 100% accurate, but we really want to give companies at that early stage an accurate idea as much as possible of what their impact looks like, so that as they scale and grow, it's something that we can all continue to address and really work on together. So I'd say that's the first kind of key stage there. Once we've really figured out what that footprint is, then we dive deep into it, right? We'll go through every single category, explain how those numbers came to be, what can you actually do to lower that number year over year? What mitigation strategies can you implement? After that, we recommend offset providers. So there are a number of offset providers out there that you can choose from. And those are essentially those projects where you're investing a dollar equivalent amount to what you emitted into projects such as tree planting, cleaner cook stoves. There's a number of different areas where you can really maximize that impact. And at the end of the day, that's how companies really go carbon neutral, is balancing that out with offsets, whatever they couldn't mitigate with those strategies that were implemented earlier. And then the last piece is really, how do you market this? How do you make this something that your customers know about, right? I mean, if you look at the statistics, 80% of consumers want companies to be more sustainable, and 50% are actually willing to shift to businesses that offer a more sustainable option. And this is a great way for companies to really affordably show their commitment to, to the environment, to everything else. And so how do you communicate that to both customers, but also to your employees as you grow and really draw the talented people that'll make your company what it is in the future?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I showed the link. It's in the chat. It will also be in the follow-up information that we send out. Look, Founders Live, we've already signed it. We're doing it. And we encourage you all to do this as well. And I have another statement to say here in a few minutes, but one last question for you both. Julie, why do you think this is so important? Why spend the time? Because look, we all know, I know personally, even in our industry, it's an uphill battle a lot of times. So, this is an uphill battle. Why is it so important?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is super, super important. And it is, of course, going to be hard. Obviously, you're working at a much smaller scale than like the Microsofts and the Googles of the world. But you have to remember that like Microsoft and Google started at the same stage that you are at right now. And so building some of that sustainability work into your company or your organization at its core, and when it's really in its groundwork stages, is going to be super, super important to growing. It's also highly impactful, affordable, and marketable, like we had said. And it really sets a precedent for everyone within your community and also just the larger business community as a whole. You guys, like as the startup community, really are the lifeblood of the Seattle area or wherever your business is. And so by pledging neutrality, you're taking ownership of that at scale. You're encouraging other people to take ownership. And when we all take this pledge together, a bunch of little changes collectively will be a big change. And even little changes here will make influence to some of those larger companies. Your company signing onto this pledge and other companies signing onto this pledge might start this movement or really add fire to this movement that eventually is going to inspire a really big company to go carbon neutral, and that in itself is going to carry so much impact.
Awesome. Cooper, in your words, why, you said it a little bit, but why is this so important?
Yeah. Well, Julie got a lot of the good stuff covered there. But I really think at the end of the day, it's that second point, right? I think that of course, there's so many business benefits to doing this, and that's not a reason or the main reason to do it, right? We want to save the environment and have an earth to live on, but there are business benefits here. And I think that's why, particularly for smaller companies, as they grow, really incorporating this as a pillar early on and something to act on. Again, it not only drives revenues, but it drives that employee engagement. But I think more importantly, on the environmental impact side, like Julia was really hitting on there, we're all 1 or 2 degrees at most removed from people at these major organizations that are responsible for a lot of the emissions that are going on out there. And when they start to see that, even the small businesses that have been around for maybe half a year are committed to this, what excuse is there for the most, polluting companies in the world not to take action anymore when their whole ecosystem is committed to this process? How can they not be, right? And so it's a part of not only really improving the sustainability of your company, but creating that precedent for all companies to take action at the end of the day. And I think there's so much value we can all really add there together. And that's something, we hope to help out with, whether it's through formal services or even just, talking with you and figuring out what your business is, where your footprint might be coming from. We want to help however we can.
Oh, thank you. And, I want to take this opportunity, especially if you both are still here. I'm going to pop this on the screen here. And, this is a really, really seminal, very important time and step right now as we are announcing and introducing our 5th core value in Founders Live for the entire brand globally. And this is the very first time that any core value has been added to our list since really when we started. I started out, the core values that I spoke about earlier in the event, those were put in place pretty much when we got Founders Live started. And this is the first time of adding a 5th one. And so we are adding what we're calling climate consciousness. And really what that says is we commit to being a leader in operating global business in a climate conscious manner, including measuring and lessening our footprint where we can. And then we also encourage others to consider their impact on the climate as well. And I'm just really excited to announce that. I owe both of you a thank you. And I think if you all didn't come into my world and our world with Founders Live, this core value would not be being stated today. So it's very, very important. I thank you both for impacting and influencing myself and then now the greater Founders Live community around the world.
Well, like you, I mean, that's fantastic and awesome to see. And yeah, really, really excited to see where that goes as the fifth value and all of the impact that Founders Live will be able to have with that.
Yeah, thank you. And it's an important step. We are, just as we step up with other, our other core values are very meaningful. This is something that going forward, we encourage you all that you're listening, you're watching, you're participating. If you want to be a part of the solution, there's decisions to be made, and these are important, good decisions. We want to be a leader in that. We encourage you also to be a leader in that. So that's exciting. How about that? So, all right, last words here for both of you. Julie, we'll let you take the last word. Anything else on your mind?
Yeah, I think, exactly what you said, making this a core value is exactly what we want from every company. If we could have every company in the world make a core value, environmental consciousness, then I think we would definitely be on the right track. So super props to you for kind of being a leader there. We really just want to say, if you have any questions about, full service offerings, our pledge, or even, if you just want to talk about how, what sustainability looks like for your business. I know every business organization is framed differently. It's going to look a lot different depending on, what your service is or what you're offering. So, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us as well. I can put our email in the chat. And so hope we connect with some of you guys after this.
Thank you. Cooper, last quick word here for you.
Yeah, again, Julie's hitting all the great points here. But again, if there are ways that we can help out, we're a business, of course, like everyone else, and we're all trying to make it work. But at the end of the day, we started this to help companies, like everyone who's here, to be more sustainable and to benefit from that, to make a difference, and to enjoy that difference, right? And so if there are ways that we can help, whatever that looks like, that's formally, informally, we're always happy to chat, and we really just want to be here as a resource as we all hopefully continue to grow and succeed here.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much. We'll stay in touch, and of course there's a lot more coming around, especially you all will get more information, and then we'll make some even more pushes and announcements next year. So keep on top of that, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Nick.
All right. We will remove them. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so excited about this is important, everyone. It is important to be a leader. Sometimes that's not easy, or making the decisions to put your business in a place that over time, if we can have all the businesses make better climate-oriented decisions, we're going to still be around. And if we don't, we're not 100% sure we're going to still be around. So just think about it.